My friends and fellow Americans, this installment is going to be a little bit different for a couple of reasons. First, I haven't been a member of YouTube long enough to post a long video. I think I'm limited to 13 minutes or something. So it will have to be cut into sections. This is a big issue. Second, this is a very emotional and contentious issue. I promise to do my best to maintain my decorum. If I fail and take a little stab at the other side, please forgive me in advance. Third, the major portion of this will be read, so as to try to avoid the negativity found in the second reason that I just mentioned. Most people who are told by their doctor that they have to undergo a surgical procedure have a lot of questions that they feel are important to ask. Many want to get right down to every little detail of that procedure and the aftermath. And I say rightly so. Anytime any doctor performs any invasive procedure, there is the potential of things going horribly wrong. As patients, we have a right to know what risks, may be in the offing. Also of concern should be any complication after the procedure, long-term effects that may be common or even uncommon. Now, if a doctor were to say to you, you have a condition that could put your life at risk, much more frequently than not, this condition under a physician's care is not life-threatening to more than a very minimal degree. Also, failure to arrest this condition almost always relegates you to a lifetime of commitment on emotional, stressful, and financial levels. It will change your life, absolutely. If you choose not to undertake this risk and decide that you want to be done with it, there is a procedure that can accomplish that, but that is also not without concern. Aside from the potential problems that can occur during any procedure, an overwhelming number of people that have had this procedure experience emotional anguish at some point for having had the procedure. If a doctor said that, I think most of us would damn sure want to know all that was possible about that procedure so that we could effectively weigh our options. Yes? Of course we would. It's called informed consent. Now let's put the fly into the ointment. The condition about which I speak is pregnancy. Lately, there have been several pieces of legislation, mostly offered at the state level, that suggest a woman who wants to have an abortion should have to be educated about the procedure. One such bill insists upon a vaginal sonogram. I don't support that bill. It's invasive and tantamount to violating a woman under the guise of giving her all the facts. I've never supported that legislation. However, I do support the non-invasive sonogram, the abdominal, I guess they call it, or compelling doctors to prescribe the procedure in some detail. I don't know that it needs to be gory necessarily, but it needs to be complete information. Some would paint this attitude as a war on women. I don't see it that way. I see it in two ways. A, it gives the woman that's contemplating the procedure full disclosure of all that is involved. And B, it gives the woman that's contemplating the procedure full disclosure of what will be lost. The amount of things that can go wrong during an abortion are actually quite numerous. Vaginal uterine tears, parts of the aborted fetus being left in utero, unfortunately that happens. Infection, excessive bleeding. I'm not a doctor, but I think you get the point. But before and after the procedure, many women suffer from mental or emotional anguish at the thought of the enormity of what it is they're enduring. I guess to a degree they should. I think holding life cheaply speaks to the integrity of our society and our own personal integrity by extension. I have a hard time with people that speak so rabidly about a woman's right to choose. They leave out what it really is a choice of is killing a life. Like it or not, a fetus is a life. It is a life form. You can argue it all you want. Oh, it's just a little piece of protoplasm. Well, you know what? That's wrong. Okay, and by the way, proto kind of means life. But anyway, it's not. It's a life. It is a living organism. Certainly, these same people would agree that a plant is a living organism. Why isn't a fetus? You know, it's pretty simple. It's alive. One of the basic definitions of living is something that's not dead. So it is a life, whether they argue it or not. And I think it bears repeating that the invasive sonogram is obviously, that's out of the question. But why shouldn't a woman who's undertaking such a big thing, why shouldn't she have informed consent? Why shouldn't she know? You know, what's funny is if we change this issue to something else, and we said that a governor had proposed a law where women would be kept in the dark about what happens during a tubal ligation, or kept in the dark about what happens during a hysterectomy. God forbid she needs a hysterectomy. The screams and cries of, what do you mean she needs all the information she can get? Well, this is where it's at for me. Informed consent. See, people rarely tend to be consistent. Why not be consistent? I've said many times that I don't want abortion to be illegal. I don't want women dying in back alleys. That's not my intent at all. But I really and firmly believe it should be an absolute last option. There are far too many options that I'm going to get into later that are less devastating monetarily, emotionally, physically than abortion. But if it comes to abortion, why shouldn't a woman have informed consent? Why shouldn't she know what it is that she's about to undertake? Just as I would want every piece of information about any procedure that I was going to have. Why are people arguing that women should be left in the dark? I mean, you want to talk about, invading a woman's body. Here, shut up, I'm going to do this. You don't need to know what it is? Seriously? And the people that argue this are so rabid. They're so impassioned that, I almost hesitate to say this, but they sound to me like, Ted Bundy types. I know it's wrong, but if I shout loud enough and if I close my eyes to what's going on, makes it better. Well, it doesn't make it better. I've known plenty of women who have undergone abortions, and it is a gut-wrenching, horrible, either memory or decision for them to make. But I think it should be a difficult decision. We shouldn't hold life cheaply. It speaks to who we are, not only as individuals, but as a country. There should be some measure of importance, of grandness, of this is a big issue. This is not some little thing. Do we need to limit the amount of children we have in this world because we're growing too big for it? Maybe. That's an argument for another day. The baby's growing inside you. And that makes the argument something very, very, very different. In the next installment, I'm going to take a little different take on the issue. I'm going to talk about the humane factor. So it's going to be a rough one. You may want to stick around for that. For those of you that don't know, a friend of mine, the one that got me thinking about doing an internet radio broadcast, just killed himself last week. So from now on, I'll be ending my videos with a big thank you to Josh. Josh, man, thank you for help getting me through the show. My friends, until you hear my voice again, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be loved. Peace and comfort.